They laughed at the human farmer. His crop ended the war. The war had lasted 50 years. Half the galaxy was scorched. Cities floated in ruins. Planets died quietly, choked in ash and radiation. 2 empires remained, barely. The Varn Dominion, brutal and ancient, and the unified Terran Accord, a patchwork of battered human colonies that had survived not because of strength, but because of will. The war wasn't just about territory anymore. It was hate, memory, blood. But that changed when a Varn scout drone sent back a curious report from a green moon on the edge of contested space. No weapons detected. No defense grid. Just fields. Endless, lush, golden fields. Crops. And a single human. The Varn laughed. A lone farmer, planting while the galaxy burns? The Varn High Strategist ordered an observational squad, just a formality. 1 ship. 1 detachment. Land, scan, mock. But the ship never reported back. Nor the second. Nor the third. That's when the Dominion grew quiet. For all their pride, the Varn had learned one thing from fighting humans: never ignore silence. So they sent a diplomatic vessel, cloaked, fast, armed with enough firepower to level a continent. It arrived above the green moon and hailed the surface. A human answered. Older. Weathered. His hands were dirty. His shirt torn. Behind him stretched fields of shimmering golden plants, swaying in the wind. Name? The Varn ambassador demanded. Caleb Rourke, the man replied. Occupation? Farmer. The Varn narrowed its eyes. We lost 3 vessels here. Explain. Caleb looked up at the stars, then wiped his hands on his trousers. They walked through my fields, he said simply. That was a mistake. The Varn scanned the crops. No toxins. No explosives. No defensive signatures. Just plants. 1 species. Unknown genome. Unregistered. Not native to any charted human world. You created this? They asked. No, Caleb replied. We just remembered it. Confused, the Varn deployed a drone. It flew low over the field, sampling air particles, capturing visual data. Then it dipped low, too low, and grazed one of the plants. A vine shot up, piercing the drone in milliseconds. The entire machine corroded, melted, and was absorbed into the root system. Seconds later, the plant bloomed brighter. The Varn watched in horrified silence. That's not natural, the ambassador whispered. No, Caleb said, walking forward. But it is alive. And it remembers pain. The Varn backed away, activating emergency uplinks. A fleet was dispatched, 10 ships. Orbit to surface nukes. No more risks. But by the time they arrived, the moon was gone. Not destroyed, absorbed. The ships entered orbit expecting coordinates and terrain. They found only endless gold. Their sensors failed. Their engines slowed. The ships couldn't escape. From orbit, it looked beautiful. Like a golden sea. But the sea was growing. And it was hungry. Caleb Rourke was gone. Or perhaps he had never been alone. Because when the first Terran scientists examined the crop's DNA, they didn't find engineering. They found memory. The plant had grown on Earth once, millennia ago. Known as Aegis vine in ancient texts. Lost in the collapse. It had no leaves, only gold-veined stems. It grew toward violence, fed on aggression, and bloomed in warfare. It didn't attack. It simply reacted. When threatened, it absorbed. When struck, it countered. And when it had enough, it changed. The crop didn't destroy the Varn fleet. It used it. Turned ships into nutrients. Turned metal into seeds. By the time the Council learned, it was too late. Aegis vine had spread to 6 worlds. Then 12. Then 40. The more violence thrown at it, the faster it grew. Automated defense grids. Absorbed. Plasma bombardments. Converted to heat. Fed to the root systems. Biological agents. Broken down. Terran High Command tried to contain it. But Rourke had planned for that too. Before vanishing, he encoded a single message into the plant's growth algorithm: grow where hate falls. The war stopped. Not because of treaty, not because of peace, but because soldiers refused to march. The Varn military collapsed. Troops deserted. Entire battlecruisers were abandoned, their crews terrified of landing near anything green. Terrans disarmed their outposts. Not out of mercy, but out of fear. Every act of war made the crop stronger. What had started as a farmer's field became a living weapon powered not by hatred, but by the existence of it. Some said Caleb had been a scientist once. Others believed he was a survivor of one of the early massacres, where the Varn wiped out human settlements for sport. But no records remained. Just a name. And a field. And a phrase that spread through the galaxy like a warning written in vines. He didn't fire a bullet. He planted a future. Eventually, the vine slowed. It had no mind. But it responded to intention. Where peace returned, the gold faded. Where silence fell, the soil healed. On some worlds, the plant turned into something else. Shade trees, grain, healing roots. Not because it was tamed, but because no one gave it reason to defend. Entire Varn colonies converted to pacifism overnight, terrified of waking the soil. Humans were offered leadership across systems. They refused. They didn't want to rule. They wanted to rebuild. But the memory of what happened on that green moon was enough to ensure no one dared challenge them again. Children on both sides were taught about war, yes, but also about Rourke's field. Not a battlefield. A biofield. A place where one man turned seeds into salvation. His crop ended the war not by killing, but by making death irrelevant. By making war unsustainable. No enemy could survive what they became. And somewhere, in a forgotten garden on a quiet planet, there still grows a single vine, golden and humming with old energy, swaying softly in the wind. Not watching. Not waiting. Just remembering. In case the galaxy forgets again.